City Research Center. Today I have Doug Carmichael with me, and we just wanted to share some things and some discussions we're having with respect to an irrigation trial that we're conducting. Where I'm standing is an area that we grazed with 5 1,400-pound cows and calves 21 days ago. And as you can see, we've still had cool temperatures here. This morning it was 50 degrees. The high today is in the low 70s. And so we certainly have been able to take advantage of those very positive growing conditions. As you can see, we've got a lot of orchard grass out here. There's a lot of forage that's still left. And so certainly we feel like with this heavy treatment and irrigation, we are going to be able to continue to sustain pushing a pretty high stocking rate. However, there's some challenges that we'd like to go through with you here today and show you some of the things that Doug and I have been discussing with respect to properly executing this research. And so, unfortunately, not every place looks like this right now. And what is happening is you're going to see cattle come into this area, and they're going to selectively graze certain areas that are more palatable to them if we allow them to. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to an area just prior to what we've grazed and show you what it looks like when we come into an area like this. It's been grazed once already. So again, you can see plants that have been clipped right off the top that are sitting there. They're more vegetative. They're going to have more nutrition in them. Also, you have plants perhaps that weren't grazed as hard that are headed out. They're going to be considerably more mature, and the cattle aren't going to find those as palatable. So we're going to go ahead now and show you an area we just left and show you the problem and the challenge we're having, and we're going to show you how then we chose to correct the problem that we were seeing. Okay, now we are in an area that has just been grazed with 5 cows and calves on 0.2 acres with irrigation. We also fertilized this area with 50 units of nitrogen roughly a week ago, or about June 7th. And so the challenge that we had when we came in with about 40,000 pounds of stock density is the cows would come in and take that shorter grass and they'd put it right into the ground. And then concurrently, if you look at an area right adjacent to this very overgrazed area, we still have our same problem as it relates to tall grass that hasn't been grazed adequately. So ultimately, this grass is not going to grow unless we take the tops off of it. So we have cattle that are coming into an area where our densities aren't high enough. They're selectively grazing certain areas into the ground, and then they're leaving other areas and not touching it. And so the decision we had to make then is to say that we have got to be aggressive and ask the cows to graze more efficiently and with more utilization through the entire paddock. So what we did then is we increased our stock densities in half. And so, by one-fold. And so what we've done now is we've essentially slowed down our moves. We were going into an area every 21 days. So now we're going to put cattle on a smaller area and move them through slower. So instead of a 21-day rest period, now we have roughly a 42-day rest period. So we're going to show you now what happens when we move through an area slower with higher stock densities. So this is the area right here that we grazed the last 2 days. And as you can see now, we do have some areas that are still a little bit tall, but a considerably more uniform graze. Now ideally, we wouldn't want to take the grass as low as we did in some areas, and that's a setback to what we decided to do. That's a negative to what we decided to do. But ultimately now we feel like we've got considerably more of these orchard grass plants clipped off. So now they have a much greater opportunity to continue to grow, to utilize our irrigation within this trial, to utilize our cool temperatures, to where now if we give this area a 40-plus day rest versus that 20-day rest that we enjoyed earlier in the growing season, perhaps these plants are going to be recovered enough to where we can come through again for that third grazing period. So ultimately what we decided to do is we have increased our stock densities. We have slowed down our moves. We have given more rest for the plants to allow them to hopefully recover for a third grazing period. Again, thank you. If you ever need to find out anything about what's going on at Lake City Research Center, please always contact us.